Hey everyone, so we're just following up on the short video. If you haven't seen that, check it out. Link will be down in the description below, or if you're watching this on the PC, it should just pop up here now, somewhere up here. We had determined and we had tested this Mercedes Sprinter, and we knew that the battery was at fault. So I went into detail on that. I'll just quickly summarize what we had done. Suspected that the battery was faulty, which I'll show you. So this is the battery here, the genuine Mercedes one. So as you just saw in the camper, there was a new battery in there, and I'll get to that in a second. So this was a factory fitted battery, and on the Sprinters it's very important to always make sure that you know the chemistry of the battery. So this particular battery was a lead acid, so it's a wet cell battery. Sometimes you can tell from looking at the top here, but it's got the part number here, and it's got the cold cranking amp hours and the ampere rate. So here's the genuine number. You can see the sulfuric acid and a few other telltale signs, but it's sometimes a little bit hard to tell. So the easiest way is if you remove it and you hear that noise, then you know it's a wet cell type battery, but it's got acid in it. So what we're trying to determine is if your Sprinter is fitted with an AGM battery. If we turn this around and come around the other side, we can see that it's lead, and also like I showed you, when you move the battery a little bit, you can hear that noise. So that's the only main determination. If you've got a Sprinter, you want to make sure if you've got an AGM battery, you have to replace it with an AGM. Don't swap in a standard wet cell or a maintenance-free lead acid battery instead of an AGM. So that's very important. So this is the battery we're going to be using. It's an Exide Extreme battery. If anyone needs the part number, it's just over here. Just over there. And I'll put up the specs now, so you'll know what the standard specs are for the Sprinters. The dimensions. So as I was saying, we tested the battery out yesterday. We fully charged it because you can't determine sometimes batteries, you have to charge them if the vehicle's been sitting for a little while. So we fully charged the battery and we ran through the testing procedure, just use the multimeter. So if you haven't seen that video, you can check it out again. The link will be down in the description. Just do watch it, I highly recommend it. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and replace it now because that battery was definitely faulty. Every time the engine was cranked or we let it glow on the glow plugs, it used to drop below 12 volts and not recover, and it was a slow crank. So you might be wondering what this is. This was just to save the memory, so it's just a battery saver that I've connected up at the moment. I'll go ahead and clean up this whole area in here because it does collect a lot of dust and debris. So I'll give that a vacuum and then I'll install the new battery. The old battery, we want to take this pipe out. So this is that little vent pipe. We want to take that out from this side. We also want to pull out this blocker on this side because we don't want any harmful fumes coming up into the cabin. We want it to vent outside. So I'll just go ahead and remove this. It's also a good idea to make sure you wash your hands thoroughly after changing your battery, just in case. Or you can wear gloves while doing this job. One just pulls out, just like so. So we'll take these two parts and transfer it over. As you can see, positive, negative, so that's the orientation. And if we go back over there, that's where the vent pipe is on the negative side. So we'll go ahead and just install the pipe in the correct spot, just over here. Push it in till it can't go in any further. Likewise the cap on this side. Make sure it's pushed in and sealed off. Now it's ready to be installed in there. So what we want to do is we want to drop the battery in, put it more towards that side where the vent pipe is, and then we want to slot it so it slides underneath that little groove under there. So just under here is the groove. So that's where it slots in and locks in place. Then we use this lock over here with two 10mm bolts. That just goes down there and it locks it in place. And I'll show you all of that now. So be careful if you can't lift this battery. Be very careful, they are extremely heavy. So I normally like to have it here at the side. Make sure the vent pipe is pushed out of your way. You want to try and pull this positive up. Now, like I said, I've got the battery saver in place. If you haven't put that, that's fine. It should make it a little bit easier. Slot the battery there in the corner, like I said, and now just pull it back here. Now we can comfortably and safely put this down. Make sure the positive never touches any part of the body. This part is okay. It's a composite material, but make sure it doesn't touch any other steel part of this. You will short circuit the positive, especially if you have a battery saver connected. So just be careful with that. So now that it's put there in place, we can go ahead and put the vent tube in. Just go ahead and slot this in. And this is the locking tool that I was talking about. So it's just got the two 10mm bolts. You will need a long, I like to use a 1/4 inch, but you can use a 1/2 inch as well, extension, just to get down there in there and lock it in place. So with this, it's a little bit difficult to show you, but you have to get it to line up to the bolt holes. Make sure it lines up perfectly, and only when it does, then we want to go ahead and tighten it. See how I can just tighten it by hand? So there's no struggle. That's what you want. So I did both the bolts up by hand. That's what you want. You want to make sure that it can be tightened by hand, because you don't want to cross thread it. It's a little bit hard to show it on video because of the tight space, but once you get the bolts in, then you just go ahead and tighten it. You don't have to over tighten it, just tighten it until it's tight, and then that's done. So that's locked in place. Then we'll go ahead and reconnect the terminals. That's it. So that's all tight now. And if you want to double check, just wiggle the battery a bit. Make sure it's secure. You can use the handle, make sure it's secure. So that's done now. Now we'll go ahead and connect up the positive. Always connect up the positive first before connecting up the negative. So make sure your wires are not rubbing or getting caught anywhere. So I've got the positive down. Now we'll just connect up the negative carefully with our battery saver. Now that we've got both connected, we'll go ahead and disconnect negative, positive. I'll go ahead and disconnect this as well. And we'll just double check the voltage. It's good. So once we tighten up the terminals, then I'll test it out. With the plastic mallet, you might have to just tap the terminal down a bit, because it's a new battery, so it'll be tight. Then we'll go ahead and tighten up both terminals. So don't over tighten these terminals, and when you're tightening up the positive, just be careful if you're using a bare ratchet like this. It can short circuit if you touch any of the metal parts, so just keep that in mind. Now that we got the battery replaced, we'll go ahead and test the battery as I did in part 1. So we'll go ahead and connect up the multimeter just on volts DC, 20 volts if it's not auto ranging. So as you can see, the battery is fully charged, which we did. It's always a good idea when testing a battery to make sure it's fully charged. So I'll go ahead and turn the lights on as I did last time. As you can see, the lights are on. Now we watch the voltage. We'll leave it on for about 15-20 seconds. It'll start dropping a bit, but it should stay stable, which you'll see shortly. So that's exactly what you want to see. You don't want to see any rapid drop as you saw on part 1. There are 2 halogen bulbs on the Sprinter. So now I'll go ahead and turn it off, and it should recover straight away. Once it recovers over 12.6, then you know that it's a good battery. I'll put up the SoC now, so you'll get to see that. If you want to see this in depth for deep cycle batteries for your camper van or other vehicle with a dual battery, do check out my other videos. Links will be down in the description below. I've made a lot of other videos. So as you can see, the voltage is stabilized. Now we'll go ahead and we'll turn the ignition on to let the glow plugs glow. There will be a drop in voltage, but it should stabilize. As you've seen, it's stabilized well now. All the lights are gone off the dash, so we'll start the vehicle. And it recovers straight away. So that's exactly what you want to see on a good battery. So now we'll just go ahead and reassemble everything back on, which I'll show you that now. So if you're ever in a situation where you need to remove your surface charge, just turn on the lights or put on any little loads. And if you want to test the battery, that's a little tip I can give you. Make sure you add your positive cover plate back on. If you removed it, it's just these two tabs over here, and it's got the two tabs here, just there. So it just locks into place. Very important, don't forget that. If you don't have this on your vehicle, make sure you just tape this up or add some rubber or something just to prevent any short circuit, because this is a steel plate. We'll go ahead and slot the cover plate back on. As you can see, I never remove the bolts. I just leave them in place. And I just open them, just undo them a little bit. And it just slots up. Just like so. Slot it in. There. And then all we want to do is just push it down everywhere. And then just gently push it up. Just like so. Make sure they're all slotted in. And now we'll go ahead and tighten it up. So it's common on a Sprinter. Majority of the bolts are either T25 or T30. So for this particular one, it's a T30 Torx that you need. Go ahead and tighten it up. There we go, and it's all torqued up. Now we'll just go ahead and install the mat back on. Drops into place like so. Slots underneath there, and just make sure it goes into the right groove there. Once that's all done, we can go ahead and slot this back in place. There's a groove at the top there, and there's a groove in this plastic plate there. So this just slots in up there, just like so. And once that's in, you just go ahead and push this down and turn it. Just like that, it locks in place, and you're all done.